About a month ago, President Trump contracted COVID-19 and was subsequently hospitalized due to his condition. During his recovery, he received something publicly known as an antibody cocktail. Now, as an average layman, we have no clue as to what this could mean. What's an antibody? What's a cocktail? That's why I'm here, to tell you what an antibody cocktail really is. Welcome to Random Academy. Now, unlike an actual cocktail, this kind of cocktail is like a mixture of multiple different things, kind of like the alcoholic kind, but without any of the DUIs or bar fights that come after. Because this cocktail is made up of antibodies, it's best to look at what antibodies are. Antibodies are basically proteins that are specifically engineered to attack different types of diseases. Antibodies kind of look like Ys, and that's because they use their two little arms to grab onto things and basically allow themselves to have direct contact with the virus. Now, because of only having 2 points of contact isn't exactly the best way to stop a virus or something, some of these antibodies have multiple Y-shaped parts, making it look like an Agario character or something. Now, you may be thinking, well, it's cool that our bodies can do that to attack against viruses, but how is this any special? See, our body really doesn't make these cool little antibodies unless you actually get COVID-19, and you're able to survive long enough with being a completely healthy human being and being a viable donor for these antibodies. Even after that, it's not like you can just inject a couple of these into everyone and call it a vaccine. You literally need trillions of antibodies. That's like Jeff Bezos' net worth right there. To do this, we need these things called stem cells. Now, you may have heard about stem cells, and you've probably heard that they come from abortions and dead babies. Unlike dead babies, these cells are very much alive. These cells mainly come from donors, placentas, and umbilical cords. The thing with these cells is that they can do anything. It's kind of like when you're a kid and your parents and teachers tell you you can do anything, and they could tell you you can become an astronaut or a basketball player. But unlike you, these cells can actually become a billionaire or a basketball player. By using these stem cells to make more antibodies, you can create enough COVID-19 antibodies to successfully rid people of COVID-19. Now, you may be wondering, if there's really only about 4 to 5 big steps in order to create an effective method to battle this coronavirus, then why haven't we been able to curb this plandemic so quickly? Is this pandemic really just a ploy by the global rich elite to take away power from the average middle-class person? Is this pandemic really just a tool for people like Jeff Bezos and Tim Apple to make more money and release mediocre new phones? Now there, Timmy, calm down, take your Adderall and throw away that tinfoil hat on your head. Even though that last one might actually have some truth, the real reason why we haven't been able to solve the coronavirus is due to the cost of this treatment. Now, you see, unlike the cost of an aspirin or the cost of insulin in New Zealand, this type of treatment is pretty expensive. I'm talking about used Honda Civic money. One of these bad boys will run you about $7,000. Now you may think, well, that's actually not a lot, but there's a lot more to it. See, the thing is, earlier this year, the company that gave Trump the antibody cocktail signed a $450 million contract so that way the government would take on the burden of paying for these cocktails. But despite all of that, it's still $7,000. Now, even though it seems as if this kind of technology is kinda out of hand for the common man, don't worry. In fact, the company actually plans on lowering the cost of the treatment once it starts going into mass production, due to the law of diminishing costs, I guess. This means that we can see this technology drop down to $2,000 for less than 1 million doses, and eventually it can be administered for free by the government if it works properly. The future of stem cell therapy is very viable too, especially for treatments that involve regrowing limbs. With all of this kind of technology, the sky's the limit. We could recreate dead people for all we care, such as some of our favorite dead people, such as Abraham Lincoln, Karl Marx, and Harambe. So in conclusion, this cocktail is expensive. Much more expensive than the one at bars. And this cocktail has a bright future, unlike the dead babies it came from. That's all for today, folks, and I'll see you later.